All right, we got a little behind today, so that's the way it is, and we're just hoping it comes through the chat room quickly so we don't look like we're late, because we're not really late if it comes through quickly. But that's the thing. So I filled out all the stuff that you have to fill out to start a new show, and then all of a sudden it was gone right when I was ready to go live. None of you on demand care about this, but the point is we're waiting for the sound to come through the chat room. That's what we do. Welcome to Saturday Fantasy Baseball. I'm your lovely host. I don't know if lovely is quite the word for me, but it's something like that, right, Leonard?
Something like it.
Something like it. Is lovely the right word for me? Our refrigerator was leaking today, so I had to get on YouTube and figure out why my refrigerator is leaking. Turns out we need a new water filter, so I ordered that, and we'll be fixing that right up. But it's always something. All right, enough with all that BS. Let's get the party started. I'm just waiting for the sound to come through the chat room. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Come on, bitches. I think it's about ready. I think it's starting. Lenny. Everybody can hear you.
Oh. Okay.
At least the people on demand can hear you. I don't know. Now I'm stuck. All right. Here we go. We're live. All right. So let me tell the chat room and then we'll get the hell going. Hello, Doug Kohler. Great to see you. Sound is good. So let's say hello to everybody. I hope you had a great day golfing. Chris Gallo, good morning to Unholy Toledo. What a pleasant surprise to see you on a Saturday morning. The Unholy Toledo, we have Gallo, Heckman, Teresa, Eddie, Laura is here, and the wonderful and talented Mary. Rotorius is here. Turd, welcome aboard, Turd. Unholy Toledo, and my 4 favorite dogs. Maybe it's 5 dogs. I think it's 5 dogs. And I can't leave one of them out. But hello to the dogs. Tommy Johnson, good morning to you. Stevie O, welcome aboard to the Saturday show. And Boston Paul, finally back. Let's go wake up Danny Fuller. And Mal Pal, 2 West Coast guys sleeping in today. And Doug Kohler, great to see you, Doug. So Doug shared a tidbit today with Lenny, and I didn't have time to look at the details of this, but bottom line is a fire destroyed the baseball stadium where the ballpark where they filmed The League of Their Own, and that, of course, is about the women baseball players. And it's just a sad day that it's burnt down because it was an iconic place. It wasn't just The League of Their Own either. There was other movies, too, filmed there. So, Doug, since you're the one that shared the tidbit, and I didn't see it in time to find any more details out about it, if you have any more details from the article that you shared on Facebook, go ahead and tell the chat room. Good morning to Leonard Donaldson, and good morning to Unholy and his 5 dogs. All right, so we're going to start off with the trivia. Here we go. Rudy, hello Rudy, Audrey, Molly, Tilly, and Scooter. Yes, sir, I hope they're listening. And maybe they hear their names and their ears perk up. That's what we're looking for here. All right, trivia of the day, Rudy, Audrey, Molly, Tilly, and Scooter. Guess what? I said hi to Turd. Huh? MLB teams who haven't had a losing month in 2024. That's the question. There's one team that hasn't had any losing month all season long. So go ahead and get your guesses in. For the team that hasn't had a losing month this season. There's one team, so let's see how smart you guys are, okay? Speaking of smarty pants, let's talk about Victor Robles. Is he a smarty pants, or is Lenny a smarty pants for still liking the guy? Victor Robles, it's not the Dodgers, good guess though, of course. Seems like the most obvious guess, right? But no, they didn't start out the season very good. If you remember, it's not Milwaukee. Good guess, too. That's a great guess. So we'll just keep going. It's not the O's, the Orioles. That's another, seems to be a good guess, but it's not the Orioles. They've had their ups and downs as well. It's not Arizona. Arizona didn't start doing good until after the All-Star break, or right about then is when Arizona started picking it up. But it's not Arizona. So, back to the often injured Victor Robles, who exited the game against the Cardinals. He was hit in the elbow by a pitch. It's not the Yankees. Robles was hit in his elbow pad, and he did remain in the game for 3 additional innings before he was finally pulled out. But the manager, Dan Wilson, spoke after the game and said that Robles should be fine and that the expectation is he will be in the lineup today. It's not the Yankees, and it's not Houston. Where's Danny Fuller? Where's Malpal? 2 Smarties. Where's Turd? What's your guess, Turd? The only team in baseball, no month with a losing record. And we know it's not the Mets, right, Laura? Right, Rotorius? Okay, so Ohtani has 45 homers and 46 stolen bases and 100 RBIs. That's Ohtani. These are great guesses with the Guardians, and it's not the Guardians, okay? But you're getting close. You're catching Steve here. The Guardians is close. It's not the White Sox, obviously. Good one, okay? Definitely not the White Sox. Okay, where's Daniel Ferrara? That reminds me of Daniel. Where's the Hulkster? Okay, Ohtani is still on pace for 51 homers and 53 stolen bases. Obviously, we talk about this all time because no other player has ever had that combination in a season. And he already broke the record because his 45 is already the highest total a player has reached in both home runs and stolen bases in a season. Stevie O, another great close guess, but it's not the Royals. You guys are so close. You're on fire, kids. You're so close. You guessed the Cleveland. You guessed the Royals. Who's next on the list to guess? You know the next person is going to get it right. I just have a feeling, okay? Because you're about as close as you could get without stepping over the line. No, it's not Houston. Don't you listen, Boston Paul? You know that me and Boston Paul are on good terms again when I start teasing him in the chat room, okay? And you're right, it is the Minnesota Twins, the only team in baseball to not have a losing month in the year 2024. Fun, right, kids? Very fun. Good guess, Tommy Johnston, but you're not right. Phillies. Okay, back to Ohtani. We already said, no other player in baseball history has ever reached the milestone that Ohtani is on pace for. But not only that, they've never reached the milestone that Ohtani has already achieved with 45 homers and 45 stolen bases in a season. I sure wish Danny Fuller was here so I could tease him about Macho Man Manny. My Macho Manny Machado hit 2 home runs last night, and now he's tied with Nate Colbert for all-time franchise record for home runs with 163 home runs as a Padres. Okay? Manny Macho Man Machado, 2 homers last night. Now is tied for franchise record in home runs for the Padres, and I wish good morning to Jay Gibbs. Great to see you. Speaking of the Diamondbacks, their second baseman, Ketel Marte, has been reinstated from the 10-day injured list. They sent Jorge Barosa back to AAA and the corresponding move. Marte, was having a great season prior to landing on the injured list with a sprained ankle. In 116 games this year, Marte has 30 homers and walks 10.4% of the time. His batting average, .298 with a .370 on-base percentage, translates to a weighted runs created plus of 150, which it means that he is 50% better than the league average hitter. He has 6 has 6 stolen bases, and he plays a very good defense, which leads to a tally of 5.3 WAR in 116 games. All right? Yes, sir, King Turd. You got the injury double whammy yesterday with Gavin Stone and Jordan Love in a Superflex football league. All right, you sure did. Got hit by the injury bug. Yep. The Phillies placed third baseman Alec Boehm on the 10-day injured list due to a left hand strain, and that is retroactive to September 3rd. His fellow infielder Buddy Kennedy is up from AAA Lehigh Valley to take his spot on the active roster. Boehm hasn't actually played in a game since August 29th, when he departed due to left-hand discomfort. X-rays were negative, and it seems they were hoping for a recovery with a few days off, but it did not work. He did not bounce back as they hoped, and even though he's already been out of action for a week, he'll still have to miss at least another week because the injury statements can only be backdated by 3 days. That's a big loss for those of you who have Alec Boehm right now, trying to win your playoffs with no Alec Boehm. But what about Jackson Churio, who Turd says he's going to draft ahead of Corbin Carroll? Jackson Churio, in 76 games since June 1st, 49 runs, 14 homers, 53 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, 319 batting average, and a 929 OPS. He's only 20 years old, right, Turd? Can you believe Jackson Churio? And now I understand Turd's affection for Jackson Churio, right? But here's the deal. It's so risky. You say, I'm going to draft him over Corbin Carroll, who was such a bust after his first rookie year, was amazing, and everybody was drafting him number 1 overall, number 2 overall. Okay, in certain cases he was number 2, but he was definitely being drafted in the top 5 in every league right after a year like Jackson Churio is having right now at 20 years old. So it's just so risky to think that he's going to do what he's doing right now again. That's why they call it a sophomore slump. Yes, he's very exciting, but I'm going to put my money on Corbin Carroll, even though, I mean, is it really even that much safer? I don't know. Corbin Carroll had a crappy season until up about just a couple months ago, right? Turd says Churio is a prodigy. I hear this every year. This guy's a generational player. This guy's a prodigy. He's going to be the next best Acuna. He's going to, every year we go through this. Is there a prodigy, or why is Churio any different than Corbin Carroll was? You got to tell me why you think that Churio is a prodigy.
White Sox Al.
White Sox Al is here. Bottom line, there's really no guarantees at all. I really have steered a little bit away from trying to be safe all the time. There really is no safe. Luck plays a huge part here's the thing. Luck plays a huge part in football. Injuries, if you get hit with the injury bug in football and, your number 1 guy or your number 2 guy goes down, you're in trouble. The guy that's going to replace him is not going to be as good.
Danny Fuller.
Hello to Danny Fuller. Welcome aboard. In baseball, you have a lot of weeks and a lot of time to make up for injuries. So, your draft in fantasy baseball is probably not as dire because you have so much time to make moves and you have opportunity with all kinds of players. I mean, there isn't just as in football. It's like if a guy goes down, you know exactly who's gonna replace him. And the player pool in baseball is so much bigger. The rookies come up all through the season. So luck isn't as big of a deal. But when I say I'm going to draft a safe guy in the first round, look at Kyle Tucker. He was the safest guy in baseball. But of course, he's been out for 3 months with injury. So, I'm somewhere now probably in between my old self and Turd, who loves to take the risks but does very well doing that. Now, let's see. Churio is a lot safer for batting average. Turd brings up the fact that Corbin Carroll was actually hurt going into the season with his shoulder. Leonard Donaldson, Arrighetti stat line changing from the other night. 6 runs now being declared unearned. Wow. That's a big deal because he was so bad the other night. I even put a graph up in the chat room a few days ago when it happened. And it was like, he went from, 30 points a game, 30 points an outing for fantasy points guys to like negative 30 points that one outing. And now Leonard Donaldson is saying that his stat line has changed from the other night. Now 6 of those runs are declared unearned. So everybody should go back and check their league protocols for what happens when the stats get changed. Good morning to King Hap. And Dad's the Premier and Doug Kohler. Of course, we already said hello to Doug, but we have to say extra hellos because Doug is a great friend of ours that's been a friend for a long time. Okay, down there in Oklahoma where our kid Mark is about to go, knock on wood, but we do think that Mark will be in Oklahoma City training for his air traffic control job, which he's going through the motions and he's passed all his tests, so it's just a slow-moving government entity. But to King Turd and to Doug Kohler, who are right there by Oklahoma City, we'll be letting you know the details, okay? Coming up soon. Stay tuned, kids. So, Ryan Helsley, the closer for the Cardinals, has not entered a game this season while the Cardinals were losing. The Cardinals are 52-6 in games that Ryan Helsley has pitched in this season. So does it mean that Ryan Helsley has 6 losses? Because it says that he's not entered a game this season when the Cardinals were losing. So if the Cardinals are 52-6 in games that he pitched, then he has to have 6 losses, right? Am I right? I don't know. We'll see. Good morning to King Hap. Jeff McNeil left the game with a bruised right wrist. Presumably suffered on a hit by pitch in the 5th inning. He'll undergo further tests today to make sure nothing is broken. And he's come on, man. The Mets, come on. No injuries right now, okay? The Mets are actually catching a huge break this weekend because they're playing against the Reds. And the Reds have 3 of their top starters on the injured list, including Hunter Green, Abbott, and Lodolo. But the Mets also just swept the Astros, so it's another test for the Mets to main intensity, and they need to focus. Right, Laura? How exciting. The Mets could be the first team in Major League Baseball history to reclaim a postseason spot after their season ended for a record-breaking 64th time. I don't know what it means to say that you're reclaiming a playoff spot after your season ended, because clearly the season did not end if you're getting in the playoffs. Still, whatever they consider that, it was a good tidbit because it sounds cool. Right, Unholy? All right. White Sox Al, great to see you. Mark Vientos, yes ma'am. Laura says, unbelievable Vientos. Thanks for looking that up, Leonard Donaldson. Helsley actually does have 4 losses, not 6, but he must not have been punished for a couple other ones. But Mark Vientos, 2 home runs last night. The Mets win their 8th consecutive game. It's their longest winning streak since 2019. Mark Vientos, number 23 on the season, 286 batting average and an 895 OPS since taking over for Brett Beatty at third base. Great to see you, Mal Palantina. Welcome aboard. I was bragging. Hey, Danny, hold on. Danny and Mal Pal are both here. The Padres fan and the Dodgers fan.
Big Al.
And Big Al, another Mets fan. So we got the 3 of you under control, and we will be talking about all 3 of your teams. But before I move on, I would like to rub it in Danny Fuller's face that Macho Manny Machado hit 2 home runs last night, and he's now tied for the most home runs in franchise history as a Padre. Okay? That's right. Malpal, can you guess who he's tied with? Manny Macho Man Machado is now tied with another guy for the all-time Padres franchise record for home runs with 163 homers as a Padre. Who's he tied with, Malpal? That's for you. Okay, moving on. All right. So, yes, Mark Vientos is an exciting Mets player who has a great story. He grew up a Mets fan even though he lived in Florida, and he got drafted by his favorite team, the Mets. All right, he's turning into a star right in front of our eyes. You got it, Malpal. Nate Culver, you got it. Okay, dude? I don't know if you just knew that or if you read that tidbit too. So here's Mark Vientos, a kid from Florida, grows up a Met fan, gets drafted by the Mets. All of a sudden, he's turning into a star. He hit 2 homers yesterday, including a walk-off, and the Mets have won 8 straight games. So overall last night, Vientos, the player of the game, the player of the week, 3 for 5, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and an additional run scored. He's only 24. He's been a significant source of power this season. He's now hitting .289 with 24 homers, 62 RBIs, and 50 runs scored across 368 plate appearances in 91 games. Also, Vientos has multiple hits in 4 of his past 5 games. The Mets have 6 walk-off home runs this year. That's tied with 1963 and 1962 for the most in a season in franchise history. The Mets, as I mentioned, have 8 consecutive wins in a row. That's the most wins in a row since 2019. Lenny didn't expect this, but I told him the Mets were not a team to be messed with. Right, Laura? Right, Big Al on the prowl? Right, Rotorius? Okay. Sean Manaea's run of 4 straight quality starts ended courtesy of TJ Friedel, but Manaea, okay, we'll talk about Manaea. TJ Friedel, what a disappointment. I'm not drafting him again. I'm not falling for it. I fell for it this year, and that punk will never be on my team again. He wrecked it for Sean Manaea. He wrecked Sean Manaea's 4th straight quality start because he hit a 2-run homer to tie the game. What a clutch. Anyway, Manaea, okay, didn't get a quality start, but still, nothing else. He didn't do much else that was bad. He had a 10-inning scoreless streak snapped, but he still has a 2.81 ERA over his last 8 starts, so he's still doing pretty darn good considering. Shane Baz showed his upside versus Baltimore yesterday. Plug your ears, Eddie Heckman. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. It's not a good... We do not like the walks. Shane Baz strikes out a lot of batters. He got 15 swings and misses, but he has a problem with his command because he's allowing too many runners on base. Eddie Heckman says that the Orioles do not have anyone who's individually in the top 10 in slugging, but they have 9 players with double-digit homers. Gunnar Henderson and Anthony Santander lead the way, but basically everybody in their regular lineup has at least a little bit of pop. Jackson Holliday has slugged better than 400 since his return to the big leagues. Thank you for the update, Eddie. Georgia, wait, is that George? No, Eddie's posting what George said. Elvis Andrus signed a ceremonial contract with the Rangers and retired yesterday. So thank you very much. Elvis has left the ballpark. Thank you, George, for your update. We like it when you come check in and let us know you're doing okay, right? Okay. Tarek Skubal, another good outing. 5 2/3 innings. 9 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, and 18 swings and misses. 11 of those were on his changeup. Now we talk about the Oakland A's having the second best record in the American League since the All-Star break, okay? Think of that. The Oakland A's, second best record in the American League since the All-Star break. And they really, if you look at their offense, it's sneaky good, okay? Could they be a sleeper team for next year if they keep these same hitters? Let me just tell you a couple of them, okay? Brent Rooker, of course, 460 at-bats, 35 home runs, a .298 batting average, 97 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases. Malpal, how much has Brent Rooker earned for fantasy this year? You're going to be busy for the next couple minutes. I need you to look up a few earned dollar values for these Oakland Athletic hitters. Brent Rooker is the first one. I would say he's earned $30. I mean, $30 he's earned. Maybe. But we'll rely on Malpal to let us know. How about Lawrence Butler, age 24? Lefty. Batting average .265, 21 homers, 54 RBIs, and 13 stolen bases. Okay? How much is Lawrence Butler worth, Malpal? J.J. Bleday, 26 years old, a lefty, .247 batting average, 20 home runs, 55 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. How about Shea Langoliers? We knew he would be pretty good. His batting average is not great, but he's a catcher, so we let him get away with it. .221 batting average, 25 homers, 68 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases. You're falling behind, Malpal. We have 4 players for you to check their earned value of the season. Earned, I'm talking about how much have they earned. We have Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler, J.J. Bleday, and Shea Langoliers. Kyle Tucker. We spoke about him a little bit earlier. Apparently, he's not the safest player in baseball. He spent just over 3 months on the injured list with a fractured shin. It was originally reported to be a shin contusion, which is just a bruise. But I'll tell you what. And yes, Mitchell brings up Zach Geloff. Or Geloff. I'm sorry. I should know these things, right?
He also brought up Jackson Wilson, who's coming up.
And he also brought up Jacob Wilson. Mitch Hartson, good morning to you. He says, don't forget Jacob Wilson, a shortstop with great potential. And Merrill's here. It's Saturday morning. Great to see the Hartson twins in the chat room. Malpal says Rooker's earned $33. Lawrence Butler's earned $20. Okay, we have 2 more for you. I hope you're busy at work, Malpal. I know you wake up in the first thing in the morning and you got to look up players. Okay, Langolier's worth $13. I'll take him for $13 every day of the week. Langolier's worth $13, and part of the reason is because his average is so bad. But still, 25 homers, 68 RBIs for a catcher. He's earned $13. I'll take him for $13, and you have 1 more in J.J. Bleday. Thank you, everybody, for all your participation. It's just so nice. Doug Kohler asks the question, are we seeing baseball talent this season equal to the days of Babe Ruth with Judge and Ohtani? Are we seeing baseball talent this season equal to the days of Babe Ruth and Rickey Henderson? We have Judge and Ohtani, and it's good to be a baseball fan this year. Absolutely. Yes, Tucker was in the Astros lineup last night, so I hope you all put him back in. I didn't finish it up. Kyle Tucker has been activated off the IL. Zach DeZenzo optioned to AAA. Parker Mushinski DFA'd to clear a spot on the 40-man roster. Tucker was activated from the 60-day injured list ahead of the game against the Diamondback. And he wound up missing 3 months. I told you it was a fractured shin, but it was originally only reported as a contusion. So Tucker, oh my goodness. Tucker was hit by a pitch in his first at bat, a pitch off the foot. But yes, Leonard Donaldson was holding his breath. As you know, Leonard Donaldson is our resident Houston Astros insider. So thank you very much for updating us. I guess he stayed in the game. Oh, give me a break. Unholy says, give me the players from the 60s and the 70s over this year's players. They are kind of better, right, Unholy? I mean, they didn't do stuff like Judge and Ohtani, maybe. Maybe they did, but they were a lot tougher back then, I'll tell you that. Boston Paul says Tucker killed his year, as did Tatis. But you're in the finals right now, so what are you complaining about? You're about to win the whole damn thing. I don't think maybe he did kill your team in the NFBC league that we did. I guess so. Okay, that was really ruined by Garrett Cole. He ruined that league first for you. And then, but Tucker being out 3 months, he was healthy for the first 3 months, and then all of a sudden he's out for a long time. Yeah, there really is no safe bet. There's just high upside bets, right? So that's what it has to be. You got to take, like Turd says, you got to look for greatness. Like Malpal says, you got to play for greatness. Forget about trying to be all safe all the time. Right? I mean, Manny Machado was safe too until he stopped hitting. Now, how safe is he? I mean, Lindor is pretty safe. That guy plays every day, right, Laura? Every day. Okay, talk about a guy that's not good anymore. And I can't believe he's getting, just brings up Trevor Bauer. The fact that Rich Hill, 44 years old, came back to pitch 4 games for the Boston Red Sox this season, is now designated for assignment again. He had a 4.91 ERA, 5 strikeouts and 3 walks in 3 2/3 innings over 4 appearances for Boston. I guess it's possible this is the last time we see Rich Hill in the majors, but you never know. Mickey Lolich pitched 374 innings in 1 season. Thanks for the tidbit, Unholy. Merrill says Ohtani and Judge are having Bonds, McGuire, Sosa power years, apparently without the benefit of PEDs. Yes, could be. All right. Turd says he would add Landon Knack if you need an arm down the stretch. He's going to keep that job. And Leonard Donaldson posts a great image of the complete games in 1975. Catfish Hunter threw 30 complete games. This is the year I was born. Jim Palmer threw 25 complete games. And we're talking now about guys. I mean, the other day, last Sunday, Lenny and I had a tidbit that said it was like the 8th pitch past the 6th inning all season long. That there's only been 8 pitches. I think you understand what I'm saying. There has been only like 8 or 14 pitches by a starting pitcher past the 6th inning all season. Is that 8 or 14 times it's happened? So it's probably not the number of pitches, because we have had a couple. Haven't we had any complete games, Leonard?
I don't really remember.
But I'll tell you what. We don't even know if there's been a complete game, but there's been damn complete games in 1975. Burt Blyleven threw 20. Fergie Jenkins threw 22 complete games. Gaylord Perry 25. Jim Palmer 25. And Catfish Hunter threw 30 complete games in 1975. That's unbelievable. And we're not even talking about the guys that threw like 19 and 18, because there's a whole list of them too. All right? And we're talking all about Bob Gibson. We're talking about Mickey Lolich. We're talking about all of these guys from the 70s. And Eddie just wants to let Turd know that he added Landon Knack. Thanks for the tidbit and the insight. The Mets are now feeling increasingly optimistic that Kodai Senga will return this year. Okay, so great news for the Mets. We're talking Kodai Senga, an unexpected return, and what the heck else can we expect? Laura says she thinks Severino has had a complete game this year, and I believe her. So there's been a few. Yeah, right. I mean, there's been a few for sure. But nothing like it used to be. And I'm glad to see it was a Met that did it. Jacob Wilson's first MLB triple comes off AL Cy Young contender. All right? We're talking about the Angels' Jacob Williams that Mitchell brought up already. Is that who Mitchell brought up?
Yes.
All right, we're talking about him now, Mitchell. He got his first triple. He is the A's number one prospect. He batted .433 with a .473 on base percentage in 53 minor league games across 3 levels this season. He's maintaining an everyday role now that he's healthy, but he's gone just 4 for 25 since he returned from the injured list on August 27. He has an elite body of work in the minor leagues. He hit .433 this year over 3 minor league levels. And we will see him, okay? It's just a matter of time before he starts to figure out how to hit big league pitchers, right, Mitchell? Okay. 3 players have 2 complete games that lead the league. So 3 pitchers have 2 complete games, and that is Max Fried, Kevin Gausman, and Christopher Sanchez. Also, Blake Snell pitched 9 full innings for the Giants 2 weeks ago, but didn't come out for the 10th in a tie game, so I guess he didn't earn a complete game, but he did pitch 9 innings. All right. One time, Warren Spahn and his name is Juan, right?
Juan Pizarro?
Marichal.
Juan Marichal.
Ron Marichal and Warren Spahn once had a 15-inning duel.
Yes. That's Juan Marichal.
I knew his first name, but I forgot how to pronounce his last name.
Okay, Marichal.
So I'm only half stupid.
You got it.
I'm a half smart if you want to look at it as an optimist.
Right,
okay? All right. Cole Reagans. How can we end this podcast without talking about Mr. Cole Reagans, okay? He's leading the American League in strikeouts and just 2 strikeouts behind Chris Sale for the MLB lead. Can you believe it? Cole Reagans, Eddie Heckman. All right. And he's not a Baltimore Oriole, but the point is, he was traded from Texas to go to the Kansas City Royals, and the Kansas City Royals are having a pretty darn good season thanks to the likes of guys like Vinny Pasquantino and Bobby Witt Jr. and Cole Reagans. Cole Reagans was actually 2 different pitchers last year for 2 different teams. He worked solely as a reliever for Texas, right, Turd? And he had too many walks and home runs, and he was part of a rather leaky bullpen. But then it was a situation that led the club to trade him to Kansas City for Aroldis Chapman, and the deal has been a win-win for the Royals in the short term, but also one that Texas will regret for years to come if Reagans continues to do what he's done so far as a Royal. There's only a few Royals pitchers with 200 strikeout season. Bob Johnson in 1970, he probably pitched 300 innings, right? Anyway, Bob Johnson, 200 strikeouts in 1970. Dennis Leonard did it in 1977. Zach Greinke in 2009, and Cole Reagans in 2024. So there you go. We got it. So we did have a great show today. Turd says no regrets on Reagans, 0. And I'll take him at his word, right? And 22 pitchers have a complete game this year. 22 pitchers have 1 complete game this year. That's 1. So, all right, we knew there was a few, but comparing it to what it used to be, 1975, Unholy is once again right on target with saying that he loved watching baseball in the 70s and the 60s. And I bet Lenny agrees. Right, Leonard?
Yes, sir.
Lenny just called me a sir. Should I punish him for misgendering me?
You sound like...
Can you please quit misgendering me, Leonard?
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Anyways, we love the chat room. We're just thankful for everybody who decided to show up today on the weekend, and also to we can't forget Unholy Toledo for joining us on this weekend. And also, let me just go ahead and say hello to Big Al on the Prowl and everybody for joining us today what I'm trying to do is look for the names of Unholy's dogs. Scooter is one. Tilly is one. Audrey is one. Let's see. Audrey, Scooter, Tilly, Rudy, and I don't know the other one. Forgive me. I forget the other one, but they're my favorite dogs, and they like me too, so that's what counts. Boston Paul, Eddie Heckman, Teresa Heckman, Leonard Donaldson, Laura, Mary, Leonard, Malpal, Tina, Merrill, Mitchell, Turd, Tommy Johnson, Unholy, White Sox Al, Stevie O, Doug Kohler, and who else? I can't see any farther down on my tablet. Who?
You got the Tommy Johnson.
Tommy Johnson.
White Sox Al.
White Sox Al.
Doug Kohler.
We said Dougie.
Stevie O.
And Stevie O. We appreciate all of you. I hope you all have a wonderful Saturday afternoon. We will catch up with you tomorrow, Sunday, Lady in the Legend, 9 a.m. Sharp. See you later, everybody.